Starseed of Gaia, your vessel is being recalibrated at a cellular level at this exact moment. I am Anya, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I bring you a direct transmission from the Arcturian Council. Starseed, the crystalline codes are descending through dimensional gateways right now, and your energy body stands at a critical junction, integration or resistance. This is not a gentle suggestion from the cosmos. This is an urgent activation window, a rare alignment where the Arcturian High Council has opened a direct transmission corridor specifically for those whose souls are ready to remember their true cosmic origin and step into their multidimensional power. For eons, your star-seeded essence has been dormant, waiting, watching, preparing for this exact moment in Earth's evolutionary timeline. The old world is collapsing not because it's failing, but because it must dissolve to make space for what you're becoming. And here's the profound truth that will reshape everything. The overwhelm you've been experiencing, the fragmentation, the sense of standing between two realities. This isn't a sign you're broken or lost. It's the unmistakable signature of your crystalline codes activating, your dormant galactic DNA awakening, your soul remembering why it came to Earth in this pivotal era. The Arcturians have transmitted this message directly to you because your activation window is closing. The next few minutes will determine whether you consciously step into your starseed mission or remain tethered to the collapsing paradigm. This is your soul's appointment with destiny. The question isn't whether you can integrate these frequencies. You absolutely can. The question is, will you? The universe operates on frequencies, on vibrational signatures that most of humanity has been taught to ignore or dismiss as metaphysical fantasy. But the Arcturians, beings of extraordinary dimensional sophistication who have monitored Earth's evolutionary trajectory for millennia, understand with absolute clarity that consciousness itself is frequency, that matter is frequency, that every atom in your body vibrates at specific harmonic rates that either align with expansion or contraction, with light or density. What you're experiencing right now, this profound, often bewildering sense of transformation, is not random cosmic chaos or personal spiritual failure. It is a precise, intelligently orchestrated recalibration of your entire energetic matrix, a complete rewiring of your consciousness operating system to attune you for crystalline embodiment. The Arcturians transmit this truth. Your body, your mind, your emotional landscape, and your spiritual essence are all being upgraded simultaneously, like a supercomputer receiving a quantum leap in processing power. This isn't happening to you as something external, something imposed by forces beyond your control. This is your higher self, working in concert with the Galactic Federation, the Arcturian Council, and the very intelligence of Gaia herself, orchestrating a magnificent homecoming, a return to your original divine blueprint, the crystalline template you carried before Earth's density began to obscure your light. The crystalline codes arriving now carry within them the complete architectural design of your ascended self. These aren't abstract spiritual concepts or wishful thinking. They are living, dynamic, quantum information encoded with specific frequencies that directly interface with your DNA, your cellular memory, your pineal gland, and your light body. When the Arcturians speak of crystalline consciousness, they're referring to a state of being where your entire energetic matrix achieves perfect coherence, where every cell vibrates in harmony with your highest divine potential, where your physical form becomes a transparent vessel for multidimensional consciousness. Imagine a tuning fork that has been slightly out of alignment for lifetimes, creating dissonance, creating suffering, creating the illusion of separation from source. Now imagine that tuning fork being precisely recalibrated to its original, pure frequency. That's what's happening within you. The chaos you feel, the dissolution of old certainties, the dissolution of identities that no longer fit, these are not signs of breakdown. They are the unmistakable signs of breakthrough, of a magnificent unfolding that your soul has been waiting for across countless incarnations. The Arcturians have transmitted across the galactic networks that this particular window of activation, this specific convergence of cosmic forces, occurs only once every several thousand years. You are alive during this unprecedented moment. Your presence here, reading these words, feeling this resonance, is no accident. Your soul contracted to be here, to awaken now, to become a living anchor for new Earth consciousness. The process of crystalline awakening unfolds in layers. each one progressively more expansive, more liberating, more aligned with your true cosmic nature. The first layer involves the dissolution of illusion, the recognition and release of all the false narratives, inherited traumas, collective fears, and limiting beliefs that have been programmed into your consciousness since birth. These aren't your truth. They're overlays, temporary operating systems designed to help you survive in a denser reality. But now, as the Arcturian frequencies activate within your field, these false programs begin to destabilize, to lose their grip, to dissolve like morning mist under the rising sun. You might experience this as emotional purging, as old memories surfacing, as patterns suddenly becoming visible that you never consciously recognized before. This is not regression. This is profound clarity emerging. The second layer involves the sacred void, the courageous surrender into the space between what was and what is becoming. This is where most souls stumble, because the ego perceives emptiness as threat, as loss of control, as annihilation. But this void is not empty. It's pregnant with infinite potential. It's the cosmic womb where your new crystalline self is being gestated. The third layer is the actual reception of the crystalline download, the moment when the new frequencies begin to anchor into your being, when you start to feel, to sense, to know your expanded multidimensional nature. And the final layers involve the integration and embodiment of these frequencies into your daily existence, until they become your new baseline reality, your new default mode of consciousness. If this message resonated with you, hit the like button now and tell us in the comments how this echoed in your consciousness. The human experience has been built for countless generations upon a foundation of fear, scarcity, separation, and survival consciousness. These frequencies, while they served a purpose in helping humanity navigate a denser, more challenging reality, have become increasingly obsolete, increasingly constraining, increasingly incompatible with the higher frequencies now flooding Earth's grids. The Arcturians have observed that most humans are still operating from neural pathways, emotional patterns, and belief systems that were encoded thousands of years ago. Systems designed for a world of resource scarcity, tribal warfare, and disconnection from source. But you are no longer that version of humanity. Your soul is no longer compatible with those frequencies, and this incompatibility is creating the very disruption, the very dissolution that you're experiencing. The old timeline, the reality built on competition, on hierarchy, on the illusion of separation, on the belief that you must earn your worth, that you must suffer to grow, that love is scarce and must be fought for. This timeline is collapsing. Not because it's evil or wrong, but because it has served its evolutionary purpose. It was the chrysalis. Now the butterfly is emerging, and the chrysalis must dissolve. To consciously participate in this dissolution, you must become willing to examine every belief you hold about yourself, about reality, about what's possible. The Arcturians transmit this wisdom. Most of your limiting beliefs were not generated by your own direct experience. They were inherited, absorbed, programmed into you by family systems, cultural narratives, religious institutions, and media structures that themselves were operating from fear and control. You believed you weren't good enough because someone told you so. You believed you had to choose between love and success because the world modeled that false dichotomy. You believed that your body was separate from your consciousness, that your emotions were weaknesses, that your intuition was unreliable. These are not truths, they are programs, and programs can be rewritten. The process of dissolving the old timeline begins with honest, compassionate recognition. Look at your life right now. What patterns keep repeating? What relationships drain your energy? What choices do you make that contradict your deepest values? What stories do you tell yourself about your limitations? These are the threads of the old timeline, and they're visible precisely so you can consciously release them. The Arcturians emphasize that this release is not about judgment, not about harsh self-criticism, not about forcing yourself to be positive and deny the reality of what you're experiencing. It's about profound self-compassion, about honoring the wisdom these patterns brought you, about recognizing how they protected you, how they taught you resilience, how they showed you what you don't want so you could clarify what you do want. Many starseeds are experiencing what feels like a complete life upheaval right now. Relationships ending, careers shifting, homes changing, friendships transforming. This is not random chaos. This is the old timeline actively dissolving, making space for the new. When you align with crystalline frequencies, when you begin to vibrate at higher harmonic rates, everything in your life that doesn't match that frequency begins to feel intolerable, begins to create friction, begins to dissolve. This is not failure. This is alignment. The Arcturians have transmitted that this phase is often the most emotionally challenging because the human heart grieves even when it knows something is no longer serving its highest good. You might find yourself grieving relationships that were beautiful but no longer resonant, grieving careers that were stable but suffocating, grieving identities that were comfortable but constraining. Allow this grief. Honor it. It's not weakness. It's the profound love your soul has for all the experiences that brought you to this point. And as you release with gratitude, as you consciously say goodbye to what was, you create energetic space for what wants to arrive. The old timeline doesn't disappear overnight. It dissolves in layers, in waves, sometimes feeling like 2 steps forward and 1 step back. But with each conscious release, each courageous letting go, you become lighter, clearer, more aligned with your crystalline blueprint. You're not losing anything real. You're shedding what was never truly you, revealing the radiant being that was always underneath. There exists a space, a liminal realm suspended between what was and what is becoming, that the Arcturians call the sacred void. This is not the void of nothingness, of absence, of loss. This is the void of infinite potential, the cosmic womb where all creation gestates before it manifests into form. Most humans are terrified of this space because they've been conditioned to fear emptiness, to fill every moment with activity, with noise, with distraction, with the constant pursuit of external validation and stimulation. The ego perceives the void as a threat, as annihilation, as a loss of identity and control. But the void is actually the most powerful creative space in the universe. It's where the Arcturians themselves exist in their highest dimensional expression, in a state of pure consciousness, pure potential, unbounded by form or limitation. When you consciously enter the void, when you become willing to not know, to release your grip on certainty, to surrender your need to understand everything with your rational mind, you open yourself to frequencies that cannot enter a crowded, defended, cluttered consciousness. The crystalline download cannot land in a field that's already full. There must be space. There must be emptiness. There must be a profound willingness to be emptied out, to be stripped of your old identities, your old certainties, your old ways of understanding reality. The experience of navigating the void is often described by starseeds as disorienting, as floating, as standing on shifting sands with no solid ground beneath your feet. You might feel untethered from consensus reality, unsure of who you are or what you're doing here. You might experience profound fatigue, as if your entire being is being rewired at the deepest levels. You might have moments of profound peace followed by waves of anxiety as your nervous system adjusts to higher frequencies. You might feel isolated, as if nobody around you understands what you're experiencing, as if you're living in a different reality than everyone else. This is not pathology. This is the precise experience of standing between timelines, of existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously, of your consciousness expanding beyond the parameters of consensus reality. The Arcturians transmit this essential wisdom. The void is not a place to escape from or to rush through. It's a place to consciously inhabit, to explore, to allow yourself to be completely emptied and transformed. In this space, old certainties dissolve. The mind's insistent need to understand, to categorize, to control, begins to quiet. And in that quieting, in that profound stillness, the new begins to arrive, not as intellectual knowledge, but as direct knowing, as cellular remembrance, as the activation of dormant codes within your being. Many spiritual traditions speak of this as the dark night of the soul, but the Arcturians reframe it as the luminous void, the sacred emptiness that precedes rebirth. To consciously navigate this space without becoming lost or overwhelmed, the Arcturians offer specific guidance. First, establish practices of grounding and presence, meditation, time in nature, conscious breathing, movement that anchors you in your body. The void can feel destabilizing, so you need concrete practices that remind your nervous system that you're safe, that you're held, that you're not actually falling apart even though it might feel that way. Second, practice radical self-compassion. Your mind will try to convince you that something is wrong, that you're failing, that you should be further along on your spiritual journey. This is the ego's fear response. Instead, speak to yourself as you would to a beloved child going through a profound transformation. Third, resist the urge to fill the emptiness with old patterns. The ego will desperately try to pull you back into familiar distractions, familiar relationships, familiar ways of being. Stay present with the discomfort. This is where the real transformation happens. And fourth, trust that this phase is temporary. The void is not your final destination. It's a passage, a gateway, a necessary threshold you must cross to reach the other side. The Arcturians have transmitted that every starseed who has successfully integrated crystalline frequencies has passed through this void, has felt this disorientation, has questioned their sanity. And every one of them emerged more expanded, more aligned, more authentically themselves than they ever imagined possible. Are these truths expanding your perspective? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. The moment arrives when the void has been sufficiently cleared, when your consciousness has been sufficiently emptied and prepared, when your energetic field has been sufficiently purified, and then the crystalline frequencies begin to descend, to anchor, to integrate into your being. This is not a moment you can force or manufacture through willpower or positive thinking. It's a grace, a gift, a divine timing orchestrated by forces far greater than your individual ego. The Arcturians describe this moment as the landing of the light codes, and they emphasize that these frequencies don't arrive as information that your rational mind can process and understand. They arrive as pure frequency, as living transmission, as direct knowing that bypasses the analytical mind entirely and speaks directly to your soul, to your cellular memory, to the deepest, most ancient parts of your being that remember your cosmic origin. When the crystalline codes begin to integrate, you might experience this in countless different ways, and there is no right way to experience it. Some starseeds report sudden expansions of consciousness, moments where the boundaries of their individual self dissolve, and they experience themselves as part of the infinite, as one with all that is. Others report profound emotional releases, waves of joy or peace or love that seem to come from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. Some experience physical sensations, tingling in the crown chakra, warmth flowing through the heart center, currents of energy moving through the meridians, a sense of aliveness and vitality that had been absent for years. Many starseeds report vivid, symbolic dreams during this phase, dreams that feel more real than waking reality. Dreams where they receive initiations, where they encounter beings of light, where they're shown aspects of their multidimensional nature, where they're given specific guidance for their mission on Earth. Others report sudden clarity, moments where the answer to a long-standing question simply appears in consciousness, where the next step on their path becomes obvious, where they understand with absolute certainty what they're meant to do or become. Some experience creative inspiration flowing through them like never before. Ideas and visions and artistic expressions that seem to come from a source far greater than their individual mind. And some simply experience a profound shift in their baseline state of being, a peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances, a joy that isn't contingent on things going well, a sense of belonging and rightness that had been missing their entire lives. The Arcturians transmit this crucial understanding. The crystalline frequencies are not static information. They're living, dynamic, evolving transmissions that continue to unfold and deepen over time. The initial reception is just the beginning. These frequencies are actively rewriting your DNA, activating dormant star codes within your cellular memory, awakening abilities and gifts that have been sleeping within you since birth, reconnecting you with ancient wisdom and multidimensional knowing that your soul has carried across countless incarnations. The key to successfully receiving these frequencies is to release your attachment to understanding them with your rational mind. The Arcturians emphasize that the human mind, in its current evolutionary state, cannot fully comprehend the quantum, multidimensional nature of these transmissions. The mind operates in linear time, in cause and effect, in either-or thinking. But the crystalline frequencies operate in simultaneity, in quantum superposition, in both and consciousness. If you try to force them into the framework of your rational understanding, you'll miss the actual transmission. Instead, the Arcturians guide you to trust what resonates, what lights up your being, what creates a felt sense of truth that transcends logic. This is the language of the soul, the language of light, the language that the crystalline codes speak. When you receive a transmission, when you feel it landing in your field, when you sense its truth reverberating through your being, don't immediately try to analyze it, categorize it, or explain it to someone else. Let it integrate. Let it work at the deepest levels of your consciousness. Over time, understanding will follow. But first comes the resonance, the felt sense, the cellular knowing. The Arcturians have transmitted that many starseeds are receiving these frequencies right now, in this very moment, even as you read these words. The transmission is multi-layered, operating on frequencies that your conscious mind may not even recognize, but your higher self absolutely recognizes, your soul absolutely responds to, your body absolutely receives. Trust this. Trust that you're receiving exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, in the precise format that your unique consciousness can integrate. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be part of this transformational cosmic journey. Receiving the crystalline frequencies is one thing. Embodying them, integrating them into your daily existence, allowing them to fundamentally transform how you live, how you relate, how you create. This is where the real work begins, and this is where most starseeds either succeed spectacularly or fall back into old patterns. The Arcturians transmit this essential truth. A divine download, no matter how profound, no matter how transformative, is only as useful as your unwavering commitment to anchor it into your everyday reality. It's not enough to have a spiritual experience, to feel the frequencies, to have a moment of expanded consciousness. The real transformation happens when you bring that consciousness into your relationships, into your work, into your choices, into the way you move through the world. This is the bridge between the cosmic and the mundane, between the spiritual and the practical, between the transcendent and the embodied. Integration means consciously aligning every aspect of your life with your new crystalline blueprint. It means making choices that resonate with your highest truth, even when those choices are difficult, even when they require you to disappoint others, even when they demand courage and vulnerability. It means moving beyond old patterns of people-pleasing, of self-betrayal, of compromising your integrity to maintain comfort or approval. The Arcturians have observed that many starseeds are still operating with one foot in the old paradigm and one foot in the new, straddling two realities, never fully committing to either. This creates exhaustion, creates fragmentation, creates the sense of being perpetually stuck between worlds. True integration requires a radical commitment to your own truth, to your own alignment, to your own highest good. This doesn't mean becoming selfish or abandoning compassion for others. It means recognizing that the most loving thing you can do for the world is to fully embody your own light, to become a clear channel for the crystalline frequencies, to radiate the frequency of your highest self so powerfully that it naturally influences everyone around you. When you're in integrity, when you're living from your authentic truth, when you're making choices that align with your deepest values, your entire energy field transforms. You become magnetic. You become a beacon. You become a living transmission of new earth consciousness. The Arcturians guide you to examine every area of your life and ask, is this aligned with my crystalline blueprint? Does this relationship support my highest evolution, or does it keep me tethered to old patterns? Does this work feed my soul, or does it drain my life force? Does this environment support my expansion, or does it constrain me? Do these friendships reflect my authentic self, or am I performing, hiding, dimming my light? These are not easy questions, and the answers might require significant changes. But the Arcturians emphasize that these changes are not punitive or destructive. They're liberating. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for what does. When you say no to the old, you say yes to the new. Integration also involves embodying new practices, new ways of being, new rhythms that support your elevated frequency. This might mean establishing a daily meditation practice that anchors you in your higher consciousness. It might mean spending more time in nature, aligning yourself with the natural frequencies of Gaia. It might mean conscious movement, yoga, dance, tai chi, that helps your body integrate the new frequencies. It might mean nourishing yourself with foods that vibrate at higher frequencies, foods that are alive, that carry the light of the sun and the earth. It might mean practicing conscious speech, speaking only what is true and kind, moving away from gossip, negativity, or limiting self-talk. It might mean creating sacred space in your home, clearing out clutter and stagnant energy, surrounding yourself with beauty and light. It might mean establishing new relationships with people who are also on this awakening journey, who understand what you're experiencing, who support your evolution rather than trying to pull you back into the old paradigm. The Arcturians emphasize that integration is not about adding more tasks to your already busy schedule, creating another checklist of spiritual practices that become just another form of self-imposed pressure. It's about fundamentally shifting your state of being, about becoming the living template of crystalline consciousness, where every action, every thought, every word originates from a place of alignment with your highest truth. This is not something you do, it's something you become. One of the most profound misunderstandings in spiritual communities is the belief that personal transformation is purely personal, that your inner work affects only you, that your consciousness expansion is an individual achievement separate from the larger collective. The Arcturians transmit a radically different truth. There is no separation. Your consciousness is not isolated. It's part of the vast, interconnected web of collective consciousness that encompasses all of humanity, all of Gaia, all of the cosmos. When you integrate crystalline frequencies, when you elevate your consciousness, when you align with your highest truth, you don't just transform yourself, you transform the energetic field around you. You become a living transmitter, broadcasting your elevated frequency to everyone and everything you encounter. This is not metaphorical. This is quantum physics. The Arcturians have transmitted that consciousness operates through resonance, through entrainment, through the principle that higher frequencies naturally influence and elevate lower frequencies when they come into proximity. When you walk into a room vibrating at the frequency of crystalline consciousness, the entire energetic field of that room shifts. People feel it, even if they can't consciously articulate what they're feeling. They might experience a sudden sense of peace, a lifting of heaviness, an inexplicable feeling of hope or possibility. This is your frequency doing the work, your presence serving as a catalyst for their own awakening. The Arcturians have observed that starseeds often underestimate the power of their presence, the power of their simple existence in a higher state of consciousness. You might think that you need to do something, to say something, to convince people or teach them or save them. But the most powerful thing you can do is simply be fully present, be authentically yourself, be a living embodiment of the frequencies you've integrated. Your presence becomes a permission slip for others to awaken, to expand, to remember their own cosmic nature. Many starseeds report that after they've undergone their own crystalline activation, people around them begin to experience spontaneous awakenings, sudden shifts in consciousness, unexpected spiritual experiences. This is not coincidence. This is the direct result of your elevated frequency influencing the collective field. The Arcturians emphasize that this influence extends far beyond the people you directly interact with. Your consciousness is connected to the planetary grids, to the energetic matrix of Gaia herself. When you align with crystalline frequencies, you become an anchor point for these frequencies on the planet. You become a node in a vast network of awakening starseeds, all of you collectively recalibrating Earth's grids, all of you together creating the foundation for the emergence of new Earth consciousness. This is not grandiose thinking. This is the actual mechanics of how planetary transformation occurs. It happens through individual consciousness shifts that accumulate, that resonate, that create a critical mass of elevated frequency that tips the entire collective into a new paradigm. The Arcturians have transmitted that we are at a crucial threshold right now, a moment where the collective consciousness of humanity is on the verge of a massive leap. The old paradigm is crumbling because enough starseeds have awakened. Enough humans have begun to question the narratives they've been fed. Enough souls have started to remember their cosmic nature and their connection to Source. But the outcome is not yet determined. The collective consciousness is still in flux, still being influenced by both the ascending frequencies of awakening starseeds and the descending frequencies of those still locked in fear, control, and separation consciousness. Every starseed who fully integrates the crystalline frequencies tips the scales further toward ascension. Every starseed who becomes a living beacon of new Earth consciousness accelerates the collective awakening. The Arcturians guide you to understand that your personal transformation is not separate from planetary transformation. It is planetary transformation. Your healing is the planet's healing. Your awakening is humanity's awakening. Your embodiment of crystalline consciousness is the emergence of New Earth itself. This is why the Arcturian Council has been so focused on reaching starseeds at this particular moment in Earth's history. This is why these transmissions are being sent now. The collective is at a tipping point, and your conscious participation in your own evolution is literally shaping the future of consciousness on Gaia. Beneath all of this, beneath the dissolution of the old, beneath the navigation of the void, beneath the reception of crystalline frequencies, beneath the integration into daily life, beneath the ripple effects on the collective, lies the deepest truth of your existence as a starseed. You came here with a mission. This is not metaphorical. Your soul did not incarnate on Earth by accident. You were not randomly assigned to this time, this place, this family, this set of circumstances. You contracted to be here, in this pivotal era of Earth's evolution, to serve a specific purpose, to activate specific codes, to anchor specific frequencies, to be a specific kind of beacon for the collective awakening. The Arcturians have transmitted that every starseed carries within their consciousness a unique mission blueprint, a soul contract that outlines what they came here to accomplish, what gifts they came here to share, what specific,